The
Okay.
last one of the lineup: Britney Spears or Taylor Swift.
So this is going to be really controversial because I know there's so many Swifties.
Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. I'm, of course, your host, the beloved, the most charismatic man in entertainment. That's right, I'm replaying Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But this is not about me. This is about my next guest today. And, we're going through a rough time right now. Gas prices through the roof. Everybody's, trying to, survive in this economy. But you know what? This economy also has room for entertainment, and that's what we're here for. So, who am I talking to? Who am I speaking to today? Well, no need to fear, because the most charismatic has the answer for you. So, he is a podcast host, producer, and cultural commentator. He is the creator of Everything and Anything and A Big Gay, a long form podcast. He also hosts Listen Up Girl, a news and commentary podcast aiming to help and tell stories through an LGBT lens. He's an advocate. He is a professional. He is making his name in the podcast space and entertainment. So please help me introduce Zach Randles Friedman to the podcast. How you doing?
Good. Thank you, Percy. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty of everything, I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
Um, Michael Jackson's new biopic is coming out. Michael.
Yeah.
A lot of people talking about it, so I want to get your opinion real fast about this. A little icebreaker. What are your thoughts on this movie that's about to come out?
I'm excited to see it because, yeah, Michael, I mean, yeah, he wasn't the greatest person in all aspects, but he was so talented. His music was amazing. I grew up on his music. So I would be excited to see it. I think his family's part of the making this movie, though. So I think they're going to make him look really good.
Yeah, his nephew's playing Michael.
Yeah.
I think Jermaine Jackson's son is playing Michael. I saw the trailers. I saw the interviews. I'm not gonna speak my opinion yet, but I'm with you. I'm waiting for this. Now, enough about Michael. Let's talk about you, Zach. Like I said, you're a busy man. You're doing a lot of stuff. So talk about your journey into creating your podcast and your brand, because it's we're in 2026, and it's hard to find a niche and breaking into spaces, but you have done that successfully. How did you get started into podcasting?
So I've been working in like corporate communications for like 20 years or more. And I was at a company, a skincare company, and they wanted me to do a podcast. And I'm like, I don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to see myself on camera. I don't want to do any of that. But I did it. And then I left the company and then I kind of missed it. And I said, okay, well, my friend says, start your own podcast. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Like, I don't know what to talk about. And he goes, well, and so I started thinking of ideas. And then I have all these ideas. And I'm like, well, it's not one niche, it's not one area. So I ended up calling it Everything and Anything. And so I did that. I started interviewing some friends, talking about just whatever we wanted to talk about. So I had a friend that married this guy. She married this guy. He ended up finding out that he was cross-dressing with hookers and stuff, like, and she like went through his phone and found all this stuff. And so she's like, who did I marry? Like, he's cross-dressing as a woman, hiring women hookers to watch him have sex with men. So I'm like, this is a documentary we should be doing, not a podcast episode. But then I just started getting like these people that were psychic mediums and people who died and came back and they talked about it, and just all types of different people. That I had this one woman, I don't know if it's true or not. She said she was abducted by aliens and came back, and yeah, so like crazy stuff. I think sometimes it's and then I started getting like some people in Boston, like local people that are big influencers, and I got John Hill to come on my show, who was he's on the Andy Cohen show. He's a co-host for Andy Cohen on his Sirius XM radio show. So he came on my show as a guest, and I I'm starting to get some bigger guests now. Um, I'll say one that I'm working on getting, which is kind of funny. I'm getting Honey Boo Boo, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh
So
yeah.
so there's some guests like that I'm working on getting, and then yeah, so that's what it is, and it's grown, and I don't know how it happened, but I'm over 2 years, and all of a sudden I started looking. I had all these people listening, and the numbers were growing up. Then I started making money on ads, and then I got sponsorships, and it would just kind of got crazy, and then I left my job about a month or so ago, a little over, and I'm just doing this full time now.
Nice. How was the transition? Because I've talked to a lot of people who left the corporate world and went into whether it's podcast or entertainment. Um, how was that transition? Because we don't see that often, and when we do, we often hear the rhetoric: "Get a real job." That's not a real job. That's a hobby. So how did you make that decision to transfer from the corporate world to now
Well, I'll
doing
tell
podcast?
you, I'll tell you that this is really this is I was doing 2 jobs when I was working my corporate job and this podcast, because finding people to booking them, scheduling them, doing the interviews, editing, all that stuff is like so much work. So my nights, weekends were all dedicated to the podcast. And now I have just the podcast job, and it's more than a full-time job still, because I'm trying to grow it and make it better, and I'm doing different topics, and I'm looking for better guests. And I love it because now I can sleep in until 10 o'clock every day if I want. I can take a nap in the afternoon if I don't have anything booked. If I want, I can go out and go shopping, get a haircut, do whatever I want now. I'm my own boss. As long as I don't have podcasts scheduled, I can do whatever I want. And it's such a nice freedom. I mean, what sucks is that I don't have that insurance paid for anymore by the company, and I don't have the 401k and all that, but I'm making good money and I just got to save it. That's all.
Right. Uh, let me ask you this on that opinion, because I've interviewed a lot of people, like I said, who may still have a foot into the corporate world, but now they're the entrepreneurs, whether it's podcasts, acting, or whatever the case may be. One of the biggest things I think a lot of people agree with is this a shift now. It used to be the corporate world is the place to be.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing people making a lot of money doing podcasts,
Yeah.
influencing. And let me ask you this: when did that idea come to you that maybe this is the right path for you? Because for some people, it could just be I'm gonna try it out, and then if it don't work, I'm going back. But you took a full-fledged jump into this. So what was that process like for you?
Well, it took 2 years though. Like, I was doing my podcast for 2 years, and I had to make enough money every month from ads and sponsorships before I would do it. And so once that money came, then I just I was waking up every morning and doing this, corporate job, and it's wasn't my ideas. I mean, I was coming up with ideas 'cause I did digital communications, but it wasn't my ideas. It wasn't my brand. I was limited to what I could do, and so I just whenever I do my podcast, I interview people. I love it, and I love doing, all the behind the scenes stuff too. And it's not that I didn't. I mean, I guess I really didn't love my corporate job. I liked it because I liked the money, but I didn't like. I didn't love what I was doing every day. I've been doing it for over 20 years. That same digital communications for a pharmaceutical company, and I was just ready for something new. And I always felt I feel like if I tried this and it doesn't work out or income goes away from ads, I go back and get another job. That's how I'm looking at it.
So the elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. So your podcast, everything and anything, and a
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
Now it is a catchy name, but I'm sure a lot of people might look at the title and think, "Huh, how did he come up with that?" So how did you come up with the name for the podcast?
I wanted to talk about anything and everything that I wanted to talk about and guest who I wanted. So people who I find interesting, I wanted to bring them on. So I'll go on TikTok and find somebody, and I'm like, she was in a cult, this one woman, and I'm like, come on my show. And so she comes on, she talks about her life being in a cult and all this. And so I wanted to have it, and they don't have to be gay or part of the LGBTQ plus community. I just want anybody on that I like. And then the bit gay is sometimes there's a little bit gayness in the show where I'll bring something out of somebody. Or I just had a guy that was 52 at 52 years old. He told his wife and 3 kids that he's been gay his whole life. So that's more than a bit gay. That's pretty gay, actually. So uh, it's not always everything and everything's gay. It's just sometimes there's a little bit of gayness thrown in there, and that's what I do.
Do you feel like you ever get any, because there's a big push in the LGBT community. There's a lot of advocates, a lot of
Yeah.
spaces for it. But do you ever feel like this pushback, whether it's from comments, whether it's from
Oh yeah.
people who watch the show?
Yeah, I mean, not I don't know about watching the show. I know that there are people in my Instagram comments or on YouTube that go on and they'll make these comments. Like I just did a thing. I just dropped an episode today, and the episode is about so there's two different types of straight men. There's a straight man that's confident and that can be friends with a gay guy and not care, and that's like they just see it as a friend. And then there's a straight guy that's got to really be super masculine and like talk about his wife and talk, grab his crotch and stuff when he's talking and call you bro and dude and all this because he's insecure. So those are the two types of straight men. So I posted some um, just some clips promoting that this episode is coming up, and the things that some of these straight guys were commenting. Oh, you're just trying to hit on the straight guy. No, I'm not, because he's ugly, and I don't want to be straight man. So no one's trying to do that. So they're just they're. I said, and if that's you, then you're the one that's insecure. But I try to just not even feed into those comments. Sometimes I just let them like say it, and I try to ignore them. But sometimes I can't help myself. I have to go back and read somebody sometimes.
But on a serious note, though, because I do think some people can't handle it, and I think it does get to a point. Quick story: this podcast, when I first started in 2020, it was called Controversial Topics,
Okay.
and I used to talk about racism, police brutality, everything social that was going on, and it got to the point where I had people DMing me like, "Hey, I'm gonna email your agent and tell them you're homophobic, you're all blah, such and such," and they actually did that.
Really?
Nothing ever came from it, but they actually did it. And I've realized not because I didn't want to talk about those things, but I think, for me, being an actor and that's a certain type of publicity you don't want. You don't
Yeah.
want people looking at you a certain way. So I had to pivot and change. For you, even though there are a lot of amazing spaces for you and there's a lot of advocates, have you ever I would say, grappled with rebranding yourself, or is this something where you're passionate about it and people are going to like it or hate it, but as long as you can keep doing what you're doing, you're going to do it?
So this is what I feel about it. Try to stay away from politics on my Everything and Anything show. I do have strong views on politics, and I mean, just what's happening in this world. I don't agree with all this stuff. What, and I don't know if you want to get into that or not, but on your show, but I don't agree with anything that's happening in this current administration, in this government, in this country. I think there are a bunch of racist, homophobic, transphobic people, and they just want the white straight man to be successful in this world. So I have my opinions. I keep it off of that show, though. It's very hard sometimes. But my Listen Up Girl show, I do 10 minutes or less of LGBTQ plus news, and I tear the orange convicted felon apart whenever I can on that show. And I talk about what's happening. I talk about news stories, like real news stories, and all the stuff that's happening, not just with LGBTQ plus, but just overall, like what's happening in this world in some points, because it's a disaster right now. I mean, like you said
Yeah,
at the beginning, gas prices. Like, how do we get here? Like, why are gas prices this high?
yeah. It's mind blowing. I got to the point, and this you might be able to relate to this. I've allowed myself to. I might have opinions, but I don't voice them anymore, especially on this, because the more I've grown, I've realized that talking about certain things have negative consequences, even if it's from a neutral standpoint, right?
Yeah,
I've had a lot of episodes on YouTube and Spotify taken down, or hey, you might have to get this off because we don't like the content that's being put out there, which is hard because as content creators, you can understand this.
yeah,
You want to have the license to have freedom, but unfortunately, we also live in a society right now where unless you're one side or the other, it gets hard. So I want to ask you that. How do you balance that? How do you balance the creative freedom of having your own show, while also having maintaining integrity?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think about things before I'll say them, and there's been so many times where somebody that maybe I'm interviewing will bring up something that I really want to go deeper into. But I was also working at a corporate job, and I didn't want anybody to ever go to my corporate job and say, "Oh, you have a guy working for you that's saying this stuff on the air." And it's not like I'd be saying anything bad. It's just somebody would just disagree with one of my views or something.
Right.
So I've held back. I'm still holding back in some ways, just because like you said, I don't want to get canceled first of all, and then I also don't want to have my content being taken down from Spotify and Apple and all that. So, um, it's hard because there's a lot of things I really would like to say, um, that I hold back on. I think just what I said before about not being happy with this current administration and stuff, I don't usually say that on shows or my own shows. So, um, but it's just getting to the point where I feel like we have to keep talking about it, because if not, it's just going to this is gonna be the norm if we don't. This is, the stuff that's happening today, people getting taken away by ICE and stuff that don't deserve that.
Yeah.
It's all, we have to talk about it. We have to say these things out loud, and we have to, these No Kings protests and stuff. I mean, I think it's great because that many people showed up on their day off on a weekend to protest this. That says a lot. That's millions of people doing this. So,
Yeah.
it's there's something wrong. Just there's I think that there's a bigger community starting to disagree with what's happening and actually opening their eyes, even if they voted for the current president or they were supporter of him. I think people are now, you see it all the time on TikTok and Instagram. I voted for him. I wish I didn't. I made a mistake. Well, too
Yeah.
late. You made the mistake and he's there. So, you know,
Right. Yeah, this time right now it's horrible. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to do the political PR move where
yeah,
you address it without addressing it, because I already know what's going to happen if we really get into that, and that's unfortunate because I, people often ask me, "Hey, you haven't done one of those hard episodes in years," and it's just hard because when I have guests, like I have a lot of high profile guests come on, they don't want to talk about that because they have an image they maintain.
yeah.
They have people, they have a career that they want to keep on to. So it makes it hard to want to address certain things. But I just want to ask you though, and you can go as deep as you want, you can keep it as short as you want. What do you think of this time right now? Because it with ice, gas prices, the war going on, the potential war that's going to happen with Iran, everything's a mess. How do you view everything? How do you just go about your day? Because for some people, this is do or die, and for
Yeah.
other people, they don't care as long as they don't impact their everyday life. It is what it is. But how do you feel about everything?
I think it's a scary time in this world. Whenever that tweet came out on Easter
Right,
from President Trump saying that he was going to destroy an entire civilization, the people that are living in that country are are living their lives, and they are not the ones that are doing this. So you're talking about killing innocent civilians, children,
right,
and I can't even like think why somebody would say they want to wipe out a whole civilization. That's like next level. That's like Hitler style stuff that they're talking about.
right.
Like killing a whole civilization. And I think about like all these people that are already working two jobs, trying to support their family with kids, and now there was all these promises that were made, like
Mhm.
prices are going to go down. Inflation just went up again. People can't even afford to go pay for gas to even get to work in some cases. People live
Yeah,
paycheck to paycheck, and they have kids that they're trying to feed. And, when you see these stories where, a single mother is saying that she has to skip dinner some nights just to make sure her kids are eating because they need the food. That's horrible. Like we're in America. Like we shouldn't be living like this. And then just the food prices and ICE taking people and destroying homes and killing people, and, all the racism that is out there. I think whenever we had President Obama in office, I'm really getting deep, and I feel like I may regret this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When we had President Obama in office, I feel like the country was coming together. I feel like people could be who they were. He won 2 terms, and he did so much for the country. And then you have Trump that came in, and all these white nationalists, all these white straight men decided that they were going to go with their burning torches in Virginia and do all this craziness, and people feel like he gave people the license to to voice. I mean, what's there's 2 things that's scary there. He gave people the license to be racist in public, but then I didn't realize how many people have been secretly racist all this time. And
Mhm.
that's really scary to me, because all these people that were acting like that oh, yeah, yeah, I love everybody. No, you don't, because you wouldn't be out there, you know, doing the things that you're doing to these groups of people. You wouldn't be walking on this college campus with a lighted torch, and then these people doing the Heil Hitler arm raise and stuff.
Yeah.
There were just like these 4 guys in Texas that just did this at one of the games, at a major sporting event. And how can you get away with that? Like, it's insanity to me that we are letting people get away with this stuff. And I think people are getting to the point now where they're starting to fight back, and I'm here for it. Like, I think fight back against it. I think the Democratic Party has been playing nice, but I think they need to grow a pair of balls, and I think they need to start like really going, and they need to step up, and they need to help people. I can't believe that we just had ICE go like to Minneapolis and kill 2 people, and nothing is happening about that now. It's not even being talked about anymore. The Epstein files, nothing is being talked about anymore because we're doing a war in Iran.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
insane. It's
It,
insanity to me.
yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and it's it's unfortunate that we got to this point. Nobody could have predicted how fast things would have shifted. And you're right. There was a lot of promises given. There was a lot of you know, we're gonna help you rhetoric as much as we heard throughout 2025. And it just seems like, from student loans to gas
Yeah.
prices to groceries, it seems like there's no relief. And it sucks because I feel like the people who have a platform to talk about it don't. The people who have the resources to help don't. And you know what? I'll open up a little bit. For me, when it comes to politics, my opinion has always been is all about money. These people, and it doesn't. I'm not pointing out one side or the other. I just feel like a lot of people are in this for what I can get for myself. There's no reason why people, some of the people that work in New York City politicians have these multi-million-dollar penthouses while people are starving and
Yeah.
struggling. There's no reason for this to be happening. Like you said, ICE, all these protests going on. It's it's horrific, and I wish that I can talk about those things like I used to without repercussions for it. Because unfortunately, every time it gets anywhere near, and then I'm not talking about me, but just in general, other content creators, they talk about this where I think Joe Rogan spoke about this briefly not too long ago, where one of his episodes he got called by Spotify. Hey, you got to tone it down. That's horrible because people want to know the information. People want to know how other people are feeling. Maybe you can relate, or maybe you're going to share a perspective. I don't know. How, but let me ask you this, Zach. Do all of this nonsense going on, all this
Mhm.
garbage going on, why are you so invested, right? Because some people might say, it don't bother me. My life, my quality of life ain't impacted. For you, why do you care?
The reason I care is because I don't look at just like myself. I look at a community. I feel like everybody that lives in my area is a part of my community, and I don't want to see people suffering. My family was the least. I grew up in Miami, in a very diverse, a very very diverse city, and there was everything from Cuban Americans or Cubans, Haitians, African American, everything was there. And so I grew up I was lucky that I didn't grow up like in a little town in Arkansas, and I wasn't exposed to other people. And my family was not racist at all. So I think that's the reason why I care about other people is because the way I was raised. And my mom is in her mid 70s and she's on Facebook and she is like every day posting content about how shitty can I say, sorry, how,
Yeah.
how how bad Donald Trump is and stuff and what he's doing. And my
Right.
aunt is also a big person who goes to every protest and cares about people no matter what race or what sexuality or anything that they are. And I think that's just how my family is and that's how I was raised. And that's why I care because if we just if I only cared about I'm a white guy, but I'm gay. So, I have a strike against me for being gay. And I'm married to a Jewish person also. So that's another strike against me. So really, it's not like those things are or people are looking so badly in those right now, but it can easily turn that way. I mean, Trump is had there was I think 674 bills that were trying to be laws against transgender people in this administration. And transgender people are only less than 1% of the entire population. So we're wasting all this time and money trying to take people's rights away to go to the bathroom, but yet we're not feeding people. You have all these people that don't have homes or they're struggling to feed their child. And that's what we're worried about is about who's using the bathroom. I mean, we're talking about destroying an entire country for what? There's did you find nuclear weapons there? No. So why do you want to destroy this? Like I just don't understand. Then you're sending these people that were involved in January 6th that are now ICE agents with no training. You've given them guns. They're harassing anyone that they want to. And it's just I just you have to stand up. We have to stand up for everyone if we want change. You can't just be selfish and just say, I'm not standing up for anybody unless they're just like me. Because then it's just gonna be a horrible place to live. And nobody
Right.
wants that. I want everybody to be happy. I'm a kind person and I want people to feel good about their lives. And if we could help the entire community, that's what we should all be doing that. Everybody. You don't
Yeah.
have to go if you don't have to go protest, but and you don't have to go to the No King's Day protests and things like that, but there's other things you can do. Like just look online. There's a million ideas of ways you could help other people, and people should be doing it.
I 100% agree with you. I think if more people came together as a community and helped each other, we would be in a much better place. Unfortunately, our society, I wouldn't say we thrive, but it seems since COVID, we've
Yes.
seen a massive change.
Yes.
It seems like we're more divided than ever. And
You're right.
I'm not going to say it's as bad as some people say as slavery times, but this is horrible. I feel like, we're at the point now, if you're a Republican, I'm not interviewing. I'm not even going to talk to you. I don't want to be in the same room as you.
Mhm.
And I get people are passionate about politics or whatever position they're in, but we should allow each other some grace to hear each other out, or be there for each other. And that's what I try to preach because, I used to be like that growing up in New York City. There's a certain rigidness to you,
Mhm.
and I got to work with a lot of homeless veterans while I was in college, and
Yeah.
and I got to meet people other society would deem scum of the earth or useless. And it showed me that this humility in everybody, regardless of how much money in your bank account or how many followers you have on Instagram. Unfortunately, I just feel like we're all obsessed. Not all, most of us are obsessed with follower count, how much money you got, how successful
Yeah.
you are, what can you do for me. I feel like if we just band together and just stop the charade. This how the government has, not to become a conspiracy theorist, but this is how they allowed themselves to get to this point because we're so distracted by so many things.
Yeah.
The president or whoever could go around and do whatever they want because hey, they're looking over here. Let's sneak over on this side. So it's like I said, we could go down this rabbit hole for hours. I'm pretty sure we both want to have a livelihood after this. So
Yes.
I'll save us some trouble here. But I do want to ask you about something though. I do want to ask you about something. Now I see this a lot in my industry, acting. AI is taking over the
Yeah.
world as we speak. I've had a lot of people chime in on this, and I want to get your opinion on it because, on one hand, I understand that social media technology is going to grow. I
Yeah.
remember as a kid watching iRobot with Will Smith, thinking we're going to have flying cars
Yeah.
at this year. Now we have AI. AI is dominating. It is trippy, especially on Instagram and stuff. I'm seeing people do some crazy, amazing things with it. Unfortunately, we also have the downsides to it. What is your opinion on AI?
I think AI is great in a lot of ways, but I am glad I am not a 20-something-year-old now looking for a job, because I think in 5 years even, I think we AI is gonna take so many jobs, because even in the industry that I was in, before I left it, you could have AI could probably do, 40% of what my job was doing. Writing content for social media, it can write press releases, it can create a website. I mean, it can do all this stuff. It can run a business for you. And it's becoming smarter and smarter and smarter. So I think AI is awesome whenever you're thinking about, like, let's say a pharmaceutical company doing research on how to cure cancer or something like that, let's just say, as an example, because AI can go through and compute things much more faster. So I think AI is amazing for that. And I think we're all going to just have to like deal with it because it's here. It's not going to go away. It's too late. Like people are too invested in it, and it's growing and growing and growing, and it's getting smarter and smarter. It's like that. It's like the Terminator movie in a way where how it all took over. The robots took over. That's what I feel. I feel like we're maybe going that direction a little bit. So
I don't disagree with you. It's someone brought up a point. I don't remember. It was actor or director. I can't remember. They was doing an interview about that, and he said, "Have you ever noticed a lot of these movies we watched before? Some of the things are starting to turn out to be a little true.
yeah,
I'm not saying we're at the Terminator, like we have, whatever type of android he was at this point, but we have robots now. We have they're working on robots that can come into your house.
yeah.
There's a guy on Instagram, real quick. There's a guy on Instagram. He runs a page. He has this robot. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, what the name of the robot is. But the robot goes around New York City, and I think he travels now with it. And he goes to places, and a robot he programs talks
Does it look like it's a woman?
language.
It's a woman robot?
What is it? It's like a silver robot, and I
Oh,
think it
okay.
has a blue mouth.
Uh,
Uh,
there's a guy in London that's doing this, and it looks like a woman, and he's taking her around, and people aren't sure if she's real or not. And I'm pretty sure she's a robot, and she looks like she could pass almost as a real woman, except she has like the back of her head doesn't look like a human, but yeah, it's insane. It's insanity. It's really insane just how lifelike she is, and her movements are almost very. She's still a little jittery, but she's more realistic than I've ever seen a robot be.
yeah, I'm seeing some of these videos, and like it's scary to see that this is the real. I don't think it's scary. I think it's interesting because I've always been fascinated with technology, mostly because I didn't really. I grew up with it, but my mom kind of limited me on it,
Yeah.
so I got exposed to it a little more high school and college. But I want to ask you: are you worried about the future of whether it's podcasts or I wouldn't even say podcast entertainment? Are you worried about entertainment and the future? Because we all know jobs are getting eliminated, especially in the tech world, unfortunately, by AI. But are you worried that we're going through a dangerous time? And I ask you this for one quick reason. My school, St. Bonaventure University, my alma mater, I think that's how you say it. They recently just announced that they're going to be introducing an AI course.
Mm.
A lot of the alumni and some of the current students voiced their opinions on it. Hey, what are we doing here? That's not a real, because I think it's supposed to be under the English umbrella.
Mhm.
That's not English. Just not what you should be teaching kids in
Yeah.
school. What are we doing here? And I think for them, their opinion was we have to embrace it because students are using it to write their essays, their
Mhm.
dissertations, their papers. So we want to just educate the youth and the future on how to properly use it or to function with it. Are you worried that we're going to be too overly reliant on AI, or is this just a phase that everybody's just falling in love with it and we'll figure out a solution?
I think so. What I think is scary is that they're making movies with AI actors, and I feel like
Yeah,
actors are going to be out without a job at some point. Because why would they pay millions of dollars for an actor to come in and do a movie when they could just hire somebody to create a whole movie using AI? So I think that's really scary. This is what I kind of think about AI overall. Whenever computers started coming and being in people's home, like a home computer, I think a lot of people thought like, "Oh, this is going to change things so much," and we all adapted to that. I do think that there will be jobs that will be eliminated, obviously, and things will change in certain industries. But I don't know. I'm hoping AI will turn out to be something that's gonna, change the world in a good way. Maybe it does find a cure for cancer, or it does, somehow bring the community together because it comes up, like maybe there are good things. I'm hoping, but I don't know. It's a scary. That's scary too. I think it's just scary that we could end up all like working for AI at some point, if we can even
yeah.
work at all. If there's no, because there may not be any jobs. So.
what was that TV show, The Jetsons?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like we're getting into.
Yeah,
But I'm curious to see how it all plays out because like I said, human beings were always going to want the next big thing, whether it's the new
yep,
phone, whether if you get $10, you're going to want $20 next time. That's
yep,
just the way how our civilization is. But I have hopes that we will figure out a solution. I think this is just it's like the new toy that you bring to your child. Everybody wants to play with it, and then you get used to it and you kind of move on. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens with that. But Zach, I know you think this is the end of the show, but it's not because I often say in life we all have to make choices.
yep,
And sometimes those choices could be detrimental to our success in our life.
mhm.
And other choices are just fun, just it's fun choices. So, Zach, before off camera, I kept asking you questions, and I'm sure you was like, what is this guy doing? Now, Zach, there's a method to my madness because, like the Joker, I'm all about, the finer things in life. So I have a segment on the show called The Hot Seat.
Okay,
And now, Zach, it's your turn. So
okay,
the hot seat is just fun, simple fun. We're gonna do pop stars of the 2000s because I think you like them. So I'm gonna give you two names, and you can give a short response. You don't have to say anything but the choice. But I'm gonna give you two names, and you just choose out of the names I'm giving you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're gonna start off big.
Okay,
We're gonna do Justin Timberlake or Adam Levine.
Justin Timberlake,
Let's do Britney Spears or Kelly Clarkson.
Brittany,
Nelly Furtado or Gwen Stefani.
mm, Nelly,
Ooh, okay. Let's do. This might seem a little odd, but follow me because there was only one of his time, one of his kind at the time.
okay,
Chris Brown or Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber,
That's a good one. Okay, we cooking. Let's do Lady Gaga or Katy Perry.
Lady Gaga for sure.
No, I can't give my opinion. Nope, this is all
Okay,
you. All right, let's do Pink or Beyonce.
oh, Beyonce,
Fair choice. Alicia Keys or Mariah Carey.
Mariah,
Ooh, okay. We got some good choices here. All right. Let's do, because you're going fast. I like this. Let's do, she was kind of pop. So I'll throw this out there Missy Elliott or Britney Spears. Let's do that.
oh, Missy for sure.
You're going to get a lot of rude comments. I'm telling you right now.
Why?
I
I love Missy. You don't
no,
like her?
I'm not even joking. I
Okay.
just had a hour-long argument this past weekend. Not because I don't like Brittany, because Brittany was a little bit before my time. I do know of her. I felt like, and someone said it's probably because I'm not white, so I'm not gonna understand. But I feel like Brittany was great, but I don't see her in the same. I don't see as high as like a Beyonce or some
Oh
people say
no.
Swift. But someone made maybe it's just an era thing, but it seems like back then she was touring with Michael, she was doing things with Michael,
Yeah.
she was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's interesting because it seems like there's Spears fans out there that will chew your head off.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just
But Missy Elliott's so talented, and she's still relevant, and she's still making music. And Britney's doing nothing but dancing around on in circles on her Instagram. So
you're right. You're right.
I
Okay.
am going to get torn up for that one.
I'm just letting you know now. All right, let's continue this. Uh let's do ooh. I said pop, so I want to keep it pop, but I might have to throw a couple of names out there. Let's do One Direction or NSYNC.
NSYNC.
Okay,
I mean, I love Harry Styles though, so but NSYNC as a band was better than One Direction, I think.
that's fair. That's fair. So here's another choice. Da, 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 da. Ooh, I think I might get you on this. I
Uh,
think
okay.
let's do Missy Elliott. She was a little bit before 2000s, but she still
Yeah,
has some music coming out. Missy Elliott or Aaliyah.
Missy Elliott.
Fair. Maroon 5 or NSYNC.
NSYNC.
Red Hot Chili Peppers
Okay.
or Linkin Park.
Red Hot Chili Peppers for sure.
Destiny's Child or give me a second. Let me think. I'm trying to see who could compare with them. All right, Destiny's Child or the Black Eyed Peas.
Destiny Child.
I
Well,
don't
I don't know.
dispute
Wait,
that.
let me think about that. Maybe the Black Eyed Peas actually for that one. I don't know. That's a hard one actually.
That is a hard one.
I would say I don't know. I think I might say actually Black Eyed Peas actually. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. All right. That's fair. All right. Speaking of Black Eyed Peas, Fergie or I'm trying to see which one should I do? Fergie or Christina Aguilera?
Fergie.
Fergie, Fergie or Britney Spears?
Are we talking today or just overall?
Is your criteria?
I'm gonna I'm gonna say Britney Spears just because she is so iconic and she had so much. She had so much good music and stuff, and I still think if came back and started doing it again, I think she could make a comeback easily. I'm gonna say Britney.
Let me ask you that. And that was a good redemption because I was trying to save you with the audience. Brittany. So I had a wonderful guest not too long ago on who got to work with Brittany. He got his big start with working with Britney Spears. And we talked about that. And I know he still has a relationship with her. Do you think that we could see a return of Britney in either 2026 or 2027?
I don't think it's gonna happen in 26 because she just got the DUI, and I think she's gonna have to deal with that. And I think her publicist hopefully is gonna keep her out of the spotlight for a while. And she just sold. I think she just sold her catalog too for a lot of money. So I don't think she needs the money, but I follow her on Instagram, and she is missing being in the spotlight, and she is missing dancing and stuff. So I think there's a possibility we'll see something come out in 2027. I don't think she's going to be doing a world tour or anything, but I think maybe she would do even if she did a duo with somebody. something like she did something with Elton John like a year or two ago, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a good song, but she need to do she needs to do a new album. I think she should. I think it would sell out. I think it would bring her back. And I think there's a part of her that wants to be brought back, but I think that the public has beat her up so much, she just doesn't wanna, like, deal with it, so that's why she has comments off on her Instagram channel. She'll post all these dances and do all this stuff, but she doesn't allow any comments.
Yeah, I do feel bad for her because I do think I was one of those people. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be hypocrite and lie. Sit up here and lie. I thought I will watch some of her videos. I saw one this past weekend she did, and I'm thinking, okay, what kind of content is this? I didn't because I knew about the conservatorship,
Yeah.
however you pronounce it,
Yeah.
and so I knew about it, but I didn't know the details about it. So I did some research and it opened my eyes. Okay, maybe I was being a little judgmental on her because it seemed to me that yeah, she is struggling with a lot of different things. And now that I know her sons are getting back into her life
Yeah.
and she's probably picking up the pieces on that. She sold her catalog. I'm sure that helped her a lot financially. So I'm gonna give her some grace because I do think, with the whole publicity around that whole situation, I think a lot of people has either turned a blind eye to her or they don't give her any grace. They just look at her as a has been who's just going through something. I do think she could honestly, after doing research, she can probably come back,
Oh, I think she 100% could. She could.
which leads me to my last one because someone brought this up. And I mentioned the name earlier, so you're probably going to have an idea where I'm going. The
Okay.
last one of the lineup, Britney Spears or Taylor Swift.
So this is gonna be really controversial because I know there's so many Swifties. I am not into her at all. It's Britney Spears for me for sure. I don't get Taylor Swift at all. I don't get the friendship bracelets. All my friends love her. They'd seen her and went to see like 5 or so of her shows, would go to travel to cities to see her. I don't even know one of her songs because I'm just not into her at all.
I'm not going. I'll just say this. I don't disagree with you. I think I'm not gonna. So I went to a museum. I would say 2024. Went to one in Columbus Circle, in New York City, and they have a section there for Taylor Swift. And I'm seeing now. Obviously, it's not for me. I went with somebody. I didn't
Yeah.
go because I was
Yeah.
looking for something to do. The amount of fans this girl has that will literally kill somebody.
Oh, they will.
It's mind blowing. I've never seen anybody's fan base be. I'm not saying all of them. Let me say that I'm not talking about all of them, but it seems like she has so many fans that will defend her with their dying breath. That it's honestly, I'm not comparing to Michael at all, not even close.
Yeah.
But it seems like Michael has certain fans like that, which makes sense. It's Michael, but her, I think she's good. But again, like she's pushing 40. She's still doing breakup songs every now and then. Like
Yeah.
at some point, I feel like with Taylor, I think she's smart. I think she's a great businesswoman. But I wonder longevity wise what her career is going to look like 5 years from now because I know she has fans, but at some point they're gonna get older. And
Yeah.
do you want to hear a bunch someone in their 40s doing breakup songs? I mean, that's just me. I
I
could be
I
wrong.
agree. I mean, I think she's super talented. I mean, she has to be talented to have this many fans and stuff. Her music, I just don't relate to her music at all. Like, I just don't. I think it's like I'm not into breakup music like that. I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm just like not. She's just the friendship bracelets and all that stuff. Like, I don't get it. And I just Britney had so many great hits that people can sing at the top of their head, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the wrong generation. That could be what it is. Like maybe I'm a little too old for the Taylors for the to be a Swiftie. Not really, because a lot of my friends are. So I don't know. She's just not my person.
yeah. It might just be personal preference. But that's exactly what the hot seat is. It's just personal preference, and you know what? It is what it is. But you know, Zach, we've had a great conversation, but one of the things I always talk about is always extending a hand, being grateful for what we have, because in the times rough times like this, it's a lot easier to find yourself comparing yourself to other people
Yeah.
and stuff. So let me ask you, what keeps you motivated? And if there's any cause, whether it's giving back to the homeless, or continuously to support the LGBT plus community, what is one thing that keeps you motivated, and what social cause you care about? I wouldn't say the most, because that means priority, but what is one social cause you would love to focus on?
What I love right now is I love being able to tell people stories on my podcast, because everybody that I bring on, they are a survivor at some point, or they're a inspiration to a certain group of people, and I look so forward sometimes to certain guests that I have, a majority of them, and I love telling their stories. And then I had a guy yesterday that I was interviewing, and he talked about his son, how he died, and how heartbreaking it was. And he's like, and I said, well, what do you think about religion now? And he's like, nobody's ever asked me that. I've never talked about that. And he told me what he thinks about religion now. He's not, because we talked about reincarnation and the afterlife and all that other stuff. So I just that's what I love. I love telling people's stories. People want to be heard, and I want to kind of tell those stories, no matter, as long as it's not hurting anybody. That's kind of what I want. And then from a cause, I mean, my Listen Up Girl podcast again is about LGBTQ plus news, and there's so much negativity. And there was a point last summer where I had to stop doing it for a month, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't read all this negativity every day. It's or go and research the negativity and then say it. And then I started getting emails and DMs like, why aren't you doing your news anymore? Like, you're keeping us informed, so we're not scrolling through finding all this fake news or having to look for all this news. You're bringing it all to me in 10 minutes. You're keeping the community informed. And that just like, I'm like, all right, I got to do it. So that's why I continue doing it, because somebody said that I was helping them, and that's why I kept doing it. So that's kind of what makes me feel like I'm giving back whenever I'm talking about LGBTQ plus rights, and when I'm talking about, how people are mistreated, whether it's by ICE or a government in another country that is trying to take away rights of LGBTQ plus people. And I feel like I'm giving back in that way. So yeah, that's my answer.
I like that. That's a beautiful answer. I think we all have a purpose. We all have a duty, and at some point, we all gonna find it. But eventually, we will get there. And I think what you're doing on behalf of the LGBT plus community is admirable, because I know a lot of people have their opinions on it, whether it's good or bad or
Mhm.
indifferent. But everybody needs representation,
Yeah.
and we're getting to the point now with our society, what what our generation, your generation, my generation, and younger, and even some of the older too, we're seeing more and more people accepting people, not just LGBT, but race, religion.
Yeah.
We're seeing more acceptance of that, and I hope that we can, despite all of the political garbage and stuff going on, that's happening, we could continue on that trajectory,
Yeah.
because this is what we need. We need more acceptance, and people having representation in all spaces, whether it's entertainment, podcasts, corporate world. We need that representation. So, you know, I often say a helping hand is a better hand, and it's not just a slogan; it's a way of life. But Zach, I want to leave you the honors with the last word. I want you to let people know where they can go support you, watch your tune into your episodes of your podcast, catch your name, like I said, and any final message, anything you want to share with the people.
Yeah, so my podcast, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay, is on all podcast platforms. It's on YouTube. Um, Listen Up Girls, same. Listen Up Girls out at least 6 days a week. My other podcast, Everything and Anything, I have 4 episodes a week coming out. And yeah, you can go to the website, Everything and Anything podcast.com or listenupgirl.com to kind of figure out more about the show. And I think my message to people is just, at the end of the day, just kind of take a moment at the end of every day and reflect on how you were that day. And I think if everybody was just a little bit kinder to everybody in the world, it would just be contagious and other people would start being kind to people. We just need to be kind to people and not like be so judgmental.